Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, we'll hear about a dispute between the city of Chandler and a local water company. Also tonight, TSMC is on the hunt for homegrown technicians to work at their Arizona semiconductor plants. And we'll hear about a new cancer treatment known as hot chemotherapy. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. A former FBI whistleblower has filed to run for Congress in Arizona. Jonathan Curtis Buma claimed that the FBI suppressed his investigations into Donald Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. Buma was subsequently charged with disclosing confidential information, including sending files to family members. As that court case continues, Buma is now planning to run for Arizona's 6th congressional district as a Democrat. CD6 is considered a competitive seat. It's currently held by Republican Juan Ciscomani. A federal judge in Texas today permanently barred the Trump administration from using the Alien Enemy Act to deport Venezuelans neither charged nor convicted of a crime. Now, the act in question dates back to the 18th century and was passed when France threatened the fledgling U.S. with war. The judge today ruled that the administration has improperly stretched the meaning of that law, which targeted members of hostile foreign nations during times of military conflict. Today's ruling applies only to Venezuelan immigrants in the Southern District of Texas. President Trump today announced that Michael Waltz is no longer the nation's national security advisor. It's the first significant shakeup of the current Trump White House. The move comes after Waltz accidentally included a journalist on a group chat to discuss what was supposed to be sensitive military operations against Yemen. That same incident involved Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who is still on the job, something that Arizona Senator Mark Kelly noted.
I think they're holding the wrong guy accountable. I think the part that was most troubling to me about this was the information that was shared, not accidentally putting a journalist on there. That is, that was an unfortunate mistake. The intentional piece of this was sharing incredibly sensitive information about a strike off of an aircraft carrier, putting pilots at risk. Yeah. I mean, I think that's where the accountability should be, not with the national security advisor.
So
that's my view.
Have you guys gotten?
So I was surprised to see this. I think they fired the wrong guy.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio will now serve as interim national security advisor. As for Waltz, the president said today that he's nominating Waltz to serve as U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. And more sobering economic news, U.S. manufacturing output in April saw its biggest contraction since the start of COVID in 2020. That's according to a survey from the Institute for Supply Management, which cites uncertainty stemming from President Trump's tariffs as a major factor as companies react to an unknown economic environment. The Arizona Supreme Court is reviewing a case involving the city of Chandler and a local water company that the city claims is failing to honor an agreement to provide water for urban areas that were originally farmlands. The city contends that the water district is still taxing residents, but they're failing to provide water. For more on this, we welcome Chandler Mayor Kevin Hartke. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Good to see you again.
All right, so this involved the Roosevelt Water Conservation District here. What exactly is going on?
Well, we've had a contract. Latest renew was 2002, and it extends to 2086, which in that is that they would sell us water, and from that we would maintain canals and receive water. They voided that unilaterally, and they've not sold us water in the last 10 years. We sued them in 2022, won in Superior Court, lost in appeal due to a technicality of the amount of time you're supposed to be able to sue, but the Supreme Court has picked it up, and we'll be reviewing this next month.
So your claim is that the city taxes, they're paying for water that is what? Is simply not available? They're not selling it? They're not giving it to? I don't understand that.
So about 27,000 households, 29% of RWCD's district is being taxed to a total of $1.7 million annually. And we're not receiving any water from that. And they're not receiving the benefit, yet they're being taxed.
And what's happening to the water?
I wish I knew. It's RWCD's water, and a couple of years ago when we had that surplus,
Yes.
they even allowed it to flow over the dam and lose it rather than sell to us.
Is there something else going on here? Do you think that the district is trying to get you to sign a new contract, trying to change terms? What's again? This seems like A equals B. I don't get it.
We've tried since about 2018 to come to grips with a contract, enforce the existing one, sign a new one. But what we need as a city is certainty. So if they have X amount of water, that they will sell us a percentage of whatever available water is after they've completed all their other obligations. They receive 5.6% of SRP's water, and we just believe after all the other obligations, they should sell us 29% of what's left after GRIC, after other things, and they're unwilling to even give us any certainty at all.
Yeah, and again, they said the agreement was terminated in 2018, effectively, I think the quote was effectively ended many years ago because of significant inactivity. What are they getting at here? Are they basically saying this was supposed to be for farmland, this ain't farmland anymore?
Well, we don't know what they're saying because we've asked for water every year, and maybe they don't have water because 29% of zero is still zero, but we've asked every year. So we are as flummoxed as anyone else could be about what do they mean by that.
But did the city not use a significant amount, or is the city now using significantly less of an amount of water than when the agreement was originally made?
Well, that is up to them. We'll take all the water that they're willing to sell us. So it's not on our end because it's a valuable commodity. And this is the product of ag to urban that we're seeing in other conversations is
Right.
all this land used to be agricultural. But when it became urban, a lot of the taxpayers that are paying, their land is no longer accessible. So we become their intermediary.
I guess my question is, did the original agreement say that X amount of water was needed by the city because farmland needed X amount of water? You're now asking for Y amount of water because the X isn't needed. It's just urban. It's not farmland anymore. That changes the agreement, or in some cases nullifies the agreement.
I honestly don't know what they're saying because technically they have a water district of 40,000 acres that covers Mesa, Gilbert, and Chandler. And they're under a state agreement, they're selling water to the Gila rivers, so they can't do anything else with it. And we've always believed in whatever a share of water is available. And now they just refuse to sell us any water.
How much of Chandler is affected by this?
29% of the GRIC, of RWCD's 40,000 acres is in Chandler. So most of all of Southeast Chandler.
Southeast Chandler. And again, this is now basically homes for the most part.
Yes.
Homes and businesses.
Yes, it's that they were once agriculture, they've sold, they're now homes.
Where are you getting the water now?
We get water from Salt River, from Central Arizona Project, from groundwater. And while this is not a huge amount of water, in this day where we're trying to have assurance and water stability in our portfolio, it all counts.
When it sounds, and again, I got $8 million of the past 6 years for no water. You've paid this money and you're getting no water. Year after year, it's going in, it's going in. Why is it still going in if you're not getting water? At what point do you just say, you know, we're getting nothing here, we're stopping the payments?
Well, it's tacked onto the taxpayers' bills. So the city doesn't pay that. If you have one of those houses, it's automatically stuck on your water bill.
Okay, but can the city do something about that?
That's what we're doing right now. We're trying to say if you're not giving benefit, then these residents should not be taxed.
Okay, but I'm saying prior to getting the Supreme Court involved in these sorts of things, can the city do something to say, you know, you shouldn't be taxed if you're not getting water?
I became mayor in 2018, and we have been trying to get water from them to have a contract. And every time I think we're close, suddenly they turn on a dime and give us nothing.
The state involved with this? State legislators, state lawmakers looking at this?
Our lawmakers are looking at this from the aspect of government should not be restrained to a one-year window of negotiation, because we tried in good agreement to negotiate an agreement. In essence, RWCD said, we're not going to give you water now, and their case was overthrown on the fact of the technicality. that they're saying your statutes of limitation has ended in.
I was going to say that technicality was it wasn't filed in time, correct?
Yes, because we were busy trying to resolve this issue with them. Isn't that a better plan, to have government entities trying to work on a solution rather than suing each other willy-nilly?
Well, the Court of Appeals says no, but I guess that's why it's at the Supreme Court. What kind of timetable now with the Supreme Court?
In June, they'll be hearing arguments with us, and we believe that they picked it up because they at least have questions on this 1 year of statute of limitations.
Interesting. All right. Obviously, that's what the appeal is for, and then you kind of take it from there. All right, Governor, goodness gracious, Mayor, I got you advanced already. Mayor, interesting story. I still don't quite understand how money goes in, but nothing comes out. But I guess we're going to find out from the court how that resolves.
I hope so, because we today still don't understand their position on why they won't sell us water.
Mayor, good to have you here.
Always good.
I have some glad tidings to impart.
Whoa! Look at that!
I'm still surprised at how good I am.
Jane Austen was my sister.
I didn't think I would ever study medicine, but here I am.
Absolutely delicious, especially straight out of the oven.
I've never seen anything like this.
I think we have sufficient cause for celebration.
Hi, I'm Catherine Anaya, host of Horizonte, the groundbreaking program that has served as a platform for Arizona's Latino community for more than 2 decades.
Latinos care about issues across the board, just like everyone else.
There's a lot of diversity in thought and opinion. We just need to make sure parents understand the value in having multilingual students.
We like to hear our voices heard. Stream episodes online at azpbs.org, YouTube, or on the PBS app.
Massive new semiconductor plants being built in North Phoenix come with a massive need for qualified workers. Chip makers TSMC has developed an apprenticeship program to help recruit and train all sorts of technicians and specialists to work at the plants. Joining us now is Rose Castaneras, president of TSMC Arizona. Good to have you here. Welcome to Arizona Horizon. Yeah.
Thank you.
So this is an apprenticeship program that exists, but it's expanding, correct?
Correct. We had a apprenticeship program pilot that started last year, last spring, and it was for our facilities technicians. We piloted the program, and now we're expanding it to equipment technicians and process technicians, and fairly soon it will be manufacturing specialist technicians. And these specialists and technician programs, apprenticeship programs, are the first of its kind in the country.
And this is basically on-the-job training.
Yes, on the job and also in classroom with many of our community colleges participating.
So it is kind of targeted toward Arizona residents, is it not?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We are committed to hiring locally. We want to make sure that we have as many people from Arizona be available to have these great jobs.
Let's talk about some of these different apprenticeship programs. Equipment technicians. This is now with Estrella Mountain Community College in conjunction?
Yes, it is.
How does that work?
Well, so the apprenticeship program is, it varies, but generally about 1 to 3 years, and it's on the job. They are officially TSMC employees, but we give them time to be able to go to the colleges and learn in-school training. And we also have availability for them to, do multiple types of jobs. So it's very structured.
Process technicians, there's another apprenticeship program for that. Talk to us about it.
Oh, that's really exciting. That is a semiconductor process technician, again, one of the first in the country, if not the first, and it is part of a nanotechnology, a technician program that we developed in conjunction with Northern Arizona University and Rio Salado College.
Very good. And with NAU, I would imagine that there is opportunity for advancement in terms of education, true?
Yes, absolutely, yes. Many of our technicians over the years continue to do many different things. We want our employees to have their entire career at TSMC. We will invest, we are investing, we've invested $5 million just at the start, and we want them to continue to train and grow. There's many opportunities. We're going to be here for a long time.
Yeah, it sounds like it. A manufacturing technician specialist. This is apparently pretty intensive, involves Grand Canyon and West Mech.
Correct, yes. And this is also very exciting because there's nothing really like it. And if you look at the semiconductor process technologies that TSMC is making right here in Arizona, it is the most advanced technology in production in the United States. This is 4 nanometer technology, it's 3 nanometer technology. Fab 3 we just broke ground on. It will be 2 nanometers and below.
Wow, and I want to get to that, back to that in a second here, but the last one, this fourth one, is facility technicians in classroom learning at Estrella Mountain Community College again. What does that involve?
So if people like to have working with their hands, they like to work on engines and assemble and disassemble and maintain basically all kinds of different equipment. And we're not talking about just, you know, car engines. We're talking about sophisticated millions, tens of $millions of pieces of equipment.
Well, and that's what I want to get back to, because some of this stuff sounds really sophisticated. Yes. It sounds very finely tuned. I mean, it seems like it's something that more, an apprenticeship program would be great for the ground floor, but you really got to know a lot toward the end, don't you?
They all learn.
Yeah.
And, you know, our first cohort from last spring, they are all thriving and they're all excited. I met and welcomed our cohort a few weeks ago for the equipment and the process technicians, and these kids are just raring to go, and they're so excited. I mean, they're working on scanning electron machines and most advanced pumps and, you know, really interesting things.
How much of an investment TSMC making in this?
It's at least $5 million to the start, and we will continue to invest. And on-the-job training for the apprenticeship program, that's just that. But we also have ongoing training for our employees. We pay for tuition as they continue to grow with TSMC. So, like I said, it's breaking the stereotypical manufacturing. Manufacturing sounds kind of boring, right? That you have like this assembly line. This is nothing like it. This is the most advanced stuff in the United States. We're moving atoms and we're channeling electrons. This is really, really cool stuff.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, when I think of semiconductor manufacturing, I don't think of assembly lines. I think of things that really take a lot of training, and the fact that these kids are getting this kind of apprenticeship program and this kind of training, and it's all here in Arizona. Yes. I would imagine, and I'd heard that Arizona, the educational facilities, the opportunities here, one of the many reasons that TSMC is here.
Absolutely. We had a due diligence team that went out in 2019, 2020, and multiple states, multiple cities, and Arizona won because, first of all, they had an existing ecosystem, but really it was because we wanted to be able to tap into a great university system and community college system, and ASU was a great partner. The community colleges have been wonderful to collaborate with.
It sounds like a great program. Rose Castaneris again, TSMC Arizona, congratulations and best of luck.
Thank you very much.
I'm Amna Nawaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, Trump's embattled national security advisor has shifted to a new role in the first major shakeup of this administration. That's coming up at 6 on Arizona PBS.
A new surgical procedure known as hot chemotherapy is helping treat patients with certain cancers of the abdomen. We learn more from Dr. Rajesh Ramanathan, who is one of 2 oncologists at Banner MD Anderson Cancer Center who performed the procedure. This is called hot chemotherapy. Why is it called that?
Sure. It's part of a larger acronym, heated intraperitoneal chemotherapy.
All right.
It's a procedure that's been around for several years, but it's a procedure where we have more and more data that it can really help a select group of patients that have very advanced stages of cancer within their abdominal cavity.
Why is it abdominal cancer and not other cancers?
Sure. Our abdominal compartment is like a container that holds certain organs. And sometimes cancer cells can contaminate that whole abdominal cavity. And just the regular chemotherapy that one might get through their blood, it doesn't do as effective as a job as possible in that abdominal cavity. So this is usually done in conjunction with that IV chemotherapy to try and really clear up the cancer and the cancer cells in the abdominal cavity.
And that's where hot chemotherapy comes in. It's a two-step procedure, correct?
Exactly.
Describe it for us.
Sure. This is really for patients that might have a colon cancer, stomach cancer, ovary cancer, appendix cancer that ruptures inside their abdominal cavity and spreads the cancer cells around. So typically we see these patients after they've been through some chemotherapy already. And the two parts that you referred to, the first part involves removing any of the cancers that we can see or feel. And then the chemotherapy is there to really treat those floating cancer cells that aren't visible to the naked eye to try and prevent it from coming back again in the future.
So these, correct me if I'm wrong, heated chemo drugs, they're applied directly in there.
Correct, exactly. There's some specialized chemotherapy drugs that are heated at a higher temperature because then they work better. And we put that directly into a person's abdomen and let it circulate there for usually an hour to an hour and a half to try and maximize how many of the cancer cells we can kill and eliminate.
And I would imagine the lining of that cavity is where you really focus.
Exactly. It's the lining of the cavity and the lining of the organs within the cavity so that if those pesky cancer cells are attached to anything, we can hopefully kill them.
And again, explain why this would be a better option than traditional methods.
It's usually a conjunctive option, meaning that it's not usually IV chemotherapy or surgery, but it's just giving patients the opportunity to be considered for this in addition to IV chemotherapy. And it's important to also remember that this isn't experimental. This has been around for many years. But the one neat thing that we have to offer our patients now in Phoenix is this additional therapeutic option so that for these poor individuals that have this difficult cancer, they now have one more tool in their toolbox that we can use to fight their cancer.
If it's used in conjunction, does that mean that more chemotherapy, more chemo or drugs can be applied?
In general, yes. The job of this is to essentially try to bring the cancer burden back down so that they can continue to get more chemotherapy in the future and ultimately have a much longer life despite having a very advanced stage of cancer.
How do you know if you're a candidate for this?
You've got to come and see one of the physicians that perform this to get evaluated. Like you mentioned at Banner MD Anderson, we have 2 physicians across 2 different parts of the city. So Banner MD Anderson has 4 total facilities located in 4 parts of Phoenix. And at any of our locations, we would be happy to see a patient to see if they're a candidate for this great procedure.
And from your angle, from your perspective, how do you know that this person who came in, that's a candidate?
That's a great question. The way I think about it is, one, we want to have a cancer that responds to chemotherapy so we can use it. The second, we want to identify a cancer that's not so aggressive that the chemotherapy is not going to have a chance to work. And the third is we want to find somebody that has a relatively low enough burden of cancer to where we can feel confident that we can get it all out when we do the surgery.
That's an interesting point, because if you can't get it all, if the surgery doesn't get all of it out, I mean, does that candidate, do you proceed with this hot chemotherapy? Is that something you're going to have to wait?
No, typically we do a lot of different studies ahead of the big surgery, a combination of CT scans, and sometimes even just putting a camera in to look around before committing a person, because this is a big operation, Ted. These operations can take anywhere from 8 to sometimes even 20 hours. People are in the hospital for sometimes 7 to 14 days.
Wow.
So before we put somebody through it, we want to make sure that it's the right thing to do for them.
And if, let's say, someone gets put through it and it works, it's a good thing. Are there side effects? What do they experience afterwards?
Yeah, typically I tell everyone the initial recovery is tough. Usually those first 2 to 3 months, it's a bit of an uphill struggle with eating and activity. But usually by 6 months, universally, people are back to having a very normal quality of life. But these are all things that we go through. This isn't a decision that's taken easily or lightly, and it's a team approach that contributes to it.
And I asked you earlier why abdominal cancer was the focus here, but could this in the future, maybe in a more targeted or focused way, apply to other cancers?
Absolutely. So this similar concept has been applied in certain other centers to people that have diseases in their chest cavity, for example. So that does exist. But this therapy also dovetails with some of the other therapies we offer at Banner MD Anderson, including therapies such as immunotherapy, which boosts the body's own ability to fight cancer, targeted therapies, which look at certain mutations so we can very intelligently focus on cancers. So these are all part of a huge real panoply of options that can treat all of these.
And before we go, we're running out of time, but real quickly here, immunotherapy, I'm not hearing as much as I used to on that. Is that because it's now become standard practice in some degree?
Absolutely. Immunotherapy has had such wide penetration in medical practices. We've made huge strides with immunotherapy that I think it's become part of standard practice, but there's also exciting stuff ahead, specifically things called CAR T therapy. So we're continuing to innovate, and there's a lot more to come.
Yeah, we did a segment on that one too not too long ago. Wonderful. Doctor, good to have you here. Good information.
Thank you.
And that is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.